More tuning in.
So Brian, I just watched your video.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're wrong.
I know. I like
You're
how.
wrong.
Oh yeah. How so?
You just said everyone.
Oh, you
Yeah,
said everyone's wrong.
I
So
said I was
so
wrong.
you're-
I said I was wrong at
so
the start
you're
of the
wrong.
video. Yeah. I
But
agree.
you're wrong about that too.
I throw everybody in that. Oh, it's some weird
I'm just busting
inner.
your ball. I'm just
It's
busting your
3
balls.
layers of meta. You're wrong about being wrong.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you're right, but you're also wrong.
Oh my god!
I legitimately like think about that in a lot of different contexts. Like even Real says, I'm a time traveler from March 2020 to tell you that New World is shut down so I can be the first person to tell you that you are wrong. Obviously like memeing. And the funny thing is that I know I'm going to get people who think that. I know I'm going to get people like, even if the game shuts down, they're like, oh, see, you were wrong. It's like, hey, I said I was wrong, but I don't say the game's going to succeed. I'm saying that there are principles in which that the game, you know, if they follow, it will be just fine. And everybody says that like the population is they're all working off of old data sets. MMOs in and of itself don't operate under the same level that people apply to them today. They, you know, so basically it's like you're taking kind of a 20-year-old model and you're thinking like, oh, it's 2022. Those same rules apply. And that just isn't the way it is anymore. And you could take Final Fantasy, like people were saying, hey, Final Fantasy, like memeing that like no more queues, dead game. It's like people play the Final Fantasy and they'll play the expansion and then they will come back before the next expansion and play it. Final Fantasy has this interesting little population thing. And so for a lot of players, a lot of the people who came in the last surge, who all of a sudden started seeing all this also from a content creation success with the game, it's no matter what, like it's, you have that and then you see this natural just drop because a lot of people play these games in different ways, and Yoshi P himself even encourages that. Now 14 is a sub-based model. WoW currently still is a sub-based model, but when we look at like things like Lost Ark, Blue Protocol on the horizon, all these varying different MMO RPGs that don't have that same business model, we're actually going to see a huge wealth of investment in the genre, because for the longest time what was happening is that you had these WoW clones. One of the things that a lot of people are looking at, the WoW clone, you know, and hey, they made these games and then they shut these games down. That's exactly what happened. But those games didn't really do anything different, even for its visual style. For WildStar, it was built by some older WoW devs, and they shut it down because they stopped making content for it. If they continue to make content for WildStar, I think it could actually be a very interesting game in today's society. In fact, we have gamers that are legitimately like trying to build up a private server for WildStar, because like no matter what, like these games have that personal. Go ahead.
The issue with WildStar is that it went for the hardcore WoW players. It was too niche. That was its main issue. It wasn't content or anything. It was just that they built it for the old school WoW player who was also a hardcore raider. And that's the main reason why they just fell apart.
Sorry you're getting ads, Board.
Yeah,
I don't get an ad right in the middle of a big old rant.
I don't have
5 of 5.
Can I turn this off? How do I turn off ads on? Like I only stream on Twitch on Fridays, so it's like
I don't know. Okay. I don't.
If I could, let's see here, just gift all y'all subs so that way we don't have to deal with it. But I don't have that kind of money. Hey, what's up, Glenn? But so back to the failed MMO model, right? Like, and I didn't go too hard onto that in this one. But I did say like they didn't really do anything different from what was already established. The other thing is that those were funded a lot by venture capitalists, right? Like a lot of like investment money, because people wanted that WoW cut. People saw that the WoW numbers and were like, we want that. And then they were like, oh, we make MMO and we get that, right? And so then they invested in these games that basically were lesser versions of what everybody was already invested in and subbed into, and they went and played those games. Well, immediately they did not see that any kind of return on investment, and essentially the message ends up becoming, you need to spend more money. And so then they all just said no, like we're going to just try and recoup whatever we can. We're not doing that. And so for the longest time we've ended up seeing less investment in MMORPGs, along with the rise of the free play model and the AAA free to play game that's out. Like, and so all of a sudden MMOs themselves have been competing against that. And so, like, as people have debated, is the MMO dying? The model itself has been killing it. The model in and of itself, when you talk about like, hey, why aren't you playing these games? It's like, why would I go pay a game that I have to sub to you and spend all this money on when I can go spend 10 times as much money on this free to play game? But it doesn't necessarily ask me for money up front of the gate. And so we've seen a mental shift, and this is generational. Like, this is something where when gamers look at it, they're like, oh yeah, like they're in their 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, and they talk about, the model in and of itself we like because of what it gives us and how it balances it out. But what's happening is there's not a lot of people coming into the genre, and so the genre is shrinking. The new models, like the fact that we've seen success with New World, success with Lost Ark, we'll probably see a lot of success around Blue Protocol from that free to play. You're seeing new investment in the genre, but it's a different business model itself, and so the player is changing, and then how it changes, and so the definition of success has changed. And what happens is you see, and that's kind of the key aspect of what my video is trying to hit at, is that the success that people are defining is 20-year-old success. It's like, this is what success looked like 20 years ago. And I'm saying this is what success looks like in 2022 and beyond, if the developers can do it. If they shut it down, New World failed, but New World only will fail if they shut it down. Or like, and that's why I said it's more appropriate to say New World failed me, because they're making a personal statement that is of maybe their own expectations. Are you expecting New World to have and be the number one MMO? If that's your expectation, it failed you. It failed your expectation. But like, that's hopefully that. And so I've seen lots of chat. I say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the y'all getting those freaking ads. When you have scheduled ads, it stops pre-roll ads when someone enters the stream. So there is more control. That's something I'll have to look up and figure out, because I have no idea. So now Amazon is uniquely positioned, because if they have two of the biggest MMOs right now on the planet. They have two. They're the publisher for Lost Ark, and it's massive in Korea. They're also the owners and developers of New World, which set mind-boggling records. If time were still, if there was never going to be, if there's never tomorrow, if they're not going to invest in it, then yes, that is a concern, and that's hopefully people who watch the video got that message. But if they're still in, which we don't know, like, because we don't know Amazon. They're an unknown entity. That, like, everything was working against New World in terms of retention. That the fact that they've held on to 100,000 players each week still against Final Fantasy 14, against these established MMOs, I think that's like, holy freaking crap. Like, I wasn't expecting that. I was thinking maybe they'd have 20,000. Maybe they'd have 30,000. But a lot of people look at that dip, assuming that it's like these gamers aren't seasonal, that they're just going to stick in. The subscription cost of $15 in 1999 would cost $25. And the fact that it doesn't cost $25 also has an impact. That's why people are like, oh, we just need to return to the world of the subscription-based MMORPG. That's just not going to happen. Like, that is just not gonna happen. Even 14 has a cash out.
If it did,
well, there are options. You can go play Mortal Online 2. I think they're gonna have that. The question is that does Mortal Online 2 stick with that model? Like, and if they do, tip of the freaking hat. But can they maintain and sustain the content that people are hungry for?
Well, the content in that game is other players,
Exactly.
Annoying other players, harassing other players, killing other players.
Yeah.
So I think the content's there.
You're looking at just kind of whenever you look at it as a snapshot, but if you actually look at the peak players for the concurrent, like 30 days, let me pull it up. Because like last it was like 97K. New World. Yeah, so I'll just show you guys the numbers, because a lot of people are like, some guys like, don't they just have like 600 players?
What? No, they've never
I was
had
like,
600 players.
right. So right now, 33,000 people. In the last 24 hours, 46. Over the course of the last week, the last 30 days, 100, like just right under 100. So obviously people play at different times of the day. So this number only says the peak, like, hey, at this time, a lot, like 100,000 people. I'm just obviously rounding up by, 2,400 here. Forgive me. I'm not trying to be like deceptive, but all in all, like this is a good number. Like this is,
No,
I think, a good number.
no.
Could it be better? Yeah, of course. But it's not going to be better in the vein of you've made a brand new MMO, a genre, a game that is going to struggle like every single one of the games struggle for the first couple of years, not because of maybe anything they're doing right or wrong, just because of the subscription model holding people into that model. WoW's collapse actually is probably the healthiest thing that could happen for the genre as a whole, because that gives people more willingness to jump into and play other games. Where before they're like, oh, I'm not going to, like, I've got so much sunk in cost, I'm not going to leave.
No, devil's advocate, Brian. If you look at the population, it's slowly decreasing.
Oh, it's constantly decreasing.
So that would mean that they're slowly losing players and losing traction.
Right. And so back to
Now, my attitude,
the point
no.
is that it's all about how do you invite those players back, and it's content, communication, and consistency, all of which
Right.
we have, like, that's them building up trust, because nobody trusts Amazon. They're not a known entity in gaming.
Correct.
And so it's just, that's where the unknown is. But you were going to say something. Go ahead.
No, my attitude is, yeah, but what is the attitude of those players being lost? Are they saying, hey, I'm waiting for more content, or are they, why?
Yeah.
The issue that I have is that people are saying, oh, players are leaving, and it's just like, yeah, but why?
Yeah, that's the
Like,
that's the until.
That's the one good thing I like about having a subscription, is that when you cancel the subscription,
You're sending
it
a
gives
clear
you-
message. Yeah.
Not even that. Simple thing. They ask you why you're canceling your subscription.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a unique opportunity of the player directly talking to the company saying, hey, this is why I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Because New World doesn't have a subscription, they have to guess why players are leaving their game.
And they already have your money, so they don't care
Right.
if you don't like something that they did, because, oh well, that person left, we'll just try again next time. Maybe someone else will like the thing that we did.
Well, but if the goal is to hold on to gamers and only like deliver that, like, I don't think that's a model that's sustainable with a lot of the choice. So I think it's actually healthier when you look at how Yoshi P structured it with feel free to take breaks, right? Now with
I agree.
canceling the sub, yes, you're giving direct feedback. The other indirect feedback comes from like when people come in and out. And that's actually the other thing that peak players don't see. I've been playing this game with a lot of new players and a lot of people who've returned, and they kind of bounce in and out. And so the question ends up being is like, is that until like has somebody truly quit? And the thing is like, yeah, there's people who quit games and never go back, but they're more rare than anything else. I'll see somebody be like, I am done with this game, I'm never playing it again, and then in 6 months we're both playing that game again. And it's because either content or they got burned out, and so they're kind of stepping away. So I think it's actually a healthier model to be able to be like, all right, yeah, I'm playing New World right now. You have that seasonal gamer model, and then you're like, maybe I'm not playing it and taking a break. But the only thing that actually solves that problem is content. And so Amazon, if they deliver content to the game, they'll continue to grow the game. They'll continue to invite players back in, whether that player comes back in who played at launch, or whether that player comes back in with an expansion to check out all what's changed. Like, that's going to obviously be very telling. I think that's why I'm most curious about Lost Ark's numbers, and if the same logic that people apply, the same critique that people apply to New World, if they make that evenly across the genre. And I don't feel like they're evenly across the genre. I think right now it's more beneficial to talk about New World in a negative way than it is in a positive way. I think it's, that's going to get more, traction.
More clicks.
You're going to get clicks, get engaged. It's more actually like about just the engagement. Yeah, this game sucks. Have you played it? No. Okay. But I'm just here to dogpile. I'm just here part of this, a bandwagon kind of, and that's like, all right, if that's what you are, if you're just a part of this zeitgeist, all right, at least we were honest with each other.
And the thing is, I can't blame those people who hate the game for not playing it, because everyone's
Right.
guilty of that, right?
Yeah,
People hate on FF14, people hate on
Yeah.
WoW,
exactly.
ESO, whatever. It's just kind of a natural thing to kind of like join the bandwagon.
Yeah, it's very
one of the
very
issues
comforting.
of
It's very
humans.
peaceful. The thing is
It's
though
one
that
of the issues. It's one of the issues of humans being a social animal.
Yeah, like we want to, like nobody wants to sit here and be like, I mean, that's why people hated the prophets, right? Like if you ever just go look at history, it's like
Yeah.
nobody liked a prophet. Nobody's sitting here and was like, this is what's gonna happen. They're like, F you, go away, let's kill him. You know, it's like, oh, he was right. That's what happened. Oh my gosh. And so it's like, I honestly, like, I feel like I'm like, oh man, like, I wish I had that in me to sit here and just be like, you know, I'm just hopping on the train. But it's like, that's what I was like. Eventually, I was like, after reading so many comments and just engaging conversation, just be like, always trying to be polite. It's like, all right, fine. I'm just gonna put it out there. Y'all can meme on it all you want. If they watch the video, that's actually like even better. But you know, it's like, yeah, because essentially one of two things is going to happen. Amazon's going to keep investing in the game, which it's incredibly unique. It does a lot of things different, and that's actually one of the things that actively works against it when you think of people who've been trained in World of Warcraft and in Final Fantasy in that heavy theme park model. To all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this is a little bit sandbox, theme park. It's not doing anything like really well. It doesn't like outside of the immersion. Like I think New World nails the immersion. But then essentially when you look at it in terms of like, oh yeah, let me compare it to this 5-year-old and 10-year-old and 20-year-old MMO, it doesn't do all these things. Right. Do we apply that same logic to everything else that we experience, you know, in gaming? If you do, I have more respect for you. But if you're selectively like this, I don't like this game and I'm going to like, I'll have the, like, it's the whole monetization critique that somebody put out on the meme where it's like, New World has Cash Shop. Oh, we have to get them. Versus like Lost Ark. Way to go! Like, good job, guys. Servers are full. Bada bada ba. You know, it's like, yeah. Oh, I'm $11 for 6 months of this aura. Here, take my money. It's like,
what I like about the aura too is not to like change the subject, but what I like about the aura is that it doesn't seem to increase your experience at all.
Yeah.
What I can tell. Although no, that's not true. Training grounds, you can get a maximum of 7,500 additional experience, but I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So, but like it doesn't like. So I think BDO, has a subscription model. It's called the Travelers Pack.
Yeah, I see the optional
And-
subscription actually coming in into more of the games themselves. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Or the battle pass.
If I recall correctly, I think Scrag, correct me if I'm wrong, but it does alter the amount of experience you do get as a character.
Let me research that for you because obviously I can't open the game right now. But let me look at that and I'll get back to you in a minute.
Yeah.